Meghan Markle's character struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed immigrant.
No, nobody wants these two.
Two of them actually need to sit down quietly with a therapist.
It was a moment designed for late-night laughs, but it quickly morphed into a cultural flashpoint. During a Weekend Update segment on Saturday Night Live, comedian Colin Jost delivered a searing one-liner that would ripple across Hollywood, social media, and even European politics. In mocking Meghan Markle's newest foray into political commentary via podcast, Jost quipped,
That they have as individuals.
Let's not applaud yet.
Comedy shows calling out Meghan for the B word that she is, because I genuinely believe.
Because what the world really needs is a mini Brigitte Macron with a royal title and no clue how politics actually work. The studio erupted in laughter. Twitter imploded. And somewhere in Montecito, Meghan Markle reportedly exploded. What was meant as a satirical jab quickly turned into an international spectacle.
And have been brutally roasted on Saturday Night Live.
Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
Trump's new trade deal with the UK is that Harry...
It wasn't just a comparison to France's controversial First Lady that stung. It was the word, mini. A word that implied not only imitation, but inferiority, less influential, less informed, and even less respected. For Meghan, a woman long obsessed with optics, status.
He is going to rock Meghan Markle's world. Meghan Markle is going to be humbled very quickly.
It's some unemployed dude who still lives with his grandma.
President Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK.
And self-styled importance, this wasn't just a roast. It was a reputational detonation. The fallout begins. Insiders at NBC confirmed that within hours of the broadcast, Meghan's team had already reached out demanding an apology and retraction. She called the sketch xenophobic, misogynistic, and a deliberate attempt to delegitimize her voice. However, NBC wasn't buying it. Executives were reportedly growing tired of Meghan's behind-the-scenes interference, labeling her behavior as manipulative and overly sensitive. One network producer stated bluntly,
There's no way President Trump would accept that deal. He's called Meghan Markle nasty and says he feels sorry for Prince Harry because his wife is It's the one that we all have severe.
She wants to be treated like a head of state but acts like a lifestyle influencer having a bad press day. In Hollywood, this was just another chapter in the Markle saga. Tantrums, PR flops, and public meltdowns. But this one hit different. This time, Saturday Night Live, an institution of American comedy, had called her bluff, and the audience wasn't just laughing at the joke. They were laughing at her. Brigitte Macron, unamused and uninvolved. What made things even more explosive was the reaction overseas. According to reports out of France, First Lady Brigitte Macron herself was not thrilled with the comparison. Unverified but widely circulated whispers suggested that she stormed into President Macron's office the morning after the sketch aired and, in a fit of fury, slapped him across the face, shouting, "Do I look like that spoiled American narcissist to you?" While the Élysée Palace denied the incident, French media insiders insist that something very heated happened behind closed doors. Macron's office made no attempt to embrace the comparison and quietly distanced her from Markle-related headlines. The public backlash. Instead of a tide of sympathy, Meghan was met with a wave of ridicule. Within days, multiple polls showed her favorability nosediving across both the US and UK. A Morning Consult survey found that 63% of Americans thought the SNL joke was accurate and funny, while only 19% considered Meghan a credible political voice. Even left-leaning outlets that had previously defended her, such as The Guardian and The Atlantic, fell silent. One DC staffer reportedly said, "She speaks in Instagram captions, not policy. She's not running for office, she's running from relevance." From royal to ridicule. What followed next was predictable but no less absurd. Meghan's PR team spun into overdrive, launching a narrative that framed her as a victim of misogyny, racism, and Eurocentric satire. But even her most loyal outlets, like Vanity Fair, didn't buy the angle. She doesn't want privacy. She wants power, but with none of the criticism that comes with it, said one entertainment journalist. This isn't a takedown. It's reality finally catching up to the fantasy. The irony, of course, is that Meghan had been subtly pushing the Brigitte Macron comparison for years. Elegant, educated, influential. But while Brigitte Macron engages in education reform and diplomacy, Meghan has been selling a podcast, a Netflix deal, and vague activism defined more by hashtags than impact. Hollywood turns cold. Executives in Hollywood, once cautiously optimistic about Meghan's brand, have begun to express fatigue. According to sources at Netflix, one showrunner flat-out refused to take a creative pitch meeting after Meghan insisted on changes that would recast her as a misunderstood global icon. She wants the admiration of Diana without any of Diana's sacrifice, said one anonymous producer. And she can't take a joke. That's career suicide in this town. Even longtime allies like Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, who once offered her refuge, have maintained a conspicuous silence. She's no longer a brand. She's a liability, one entertainment insider told Variety. Nobody wants to be dragged into her orbit anymore.
Herself and who she actually is are quite different. I don't look at Meghan as someone who I would get business advice from.
To write a resume, I don't know what I would call myself.
If she doesn't know, how are we supposed to?
And also, I think the lens through which she views the world is very peculiar.
Highly incongruous, and she is living in La La Land. Look, I couldn't even watch all of this interview. This
Minified and mocked. Within 24 hours of the broadcast, TikTok and Twitter were flooded with parody clips. Fake perfume ads titled Mini by Meghan went viral. AI-generated press conferences depicted Meghan demanding a public apology from France. Comedians began riffing on her royal victimhood persona, and even Meghan's voice, artificially posh and overly rehearsed, became part of the punchline. Instead of fighting back with grace or humor, Meghan leaned into defensiveness. And in doing so, she validated the one thing comedians and critics have long said about her: she's image-obsessed, overly sensitive, and catastrophically unaware of how satire works in the Western world. Harry's silence and shame. While Meghan melted down behind the scenes, Prince Harry reportedly looked on in embarrassment. Friends from his military days are said to be distancing themselves, baffled by how far he's allowed himself to be dragged into his wife's downward spiral. It's no longer noble silence, one biographer noted. It's complicity. In the absence of a public comment, his inaction has spoken volumes. Hollywood and the public are beginning to ask the same question. What happened to the man once known for his humility and honor? A joke that struck a nerve. At the heart of this media circus lies one undeniable truth. Meghan's entire public persona is built on the illusion of control. Carefully scripted interviews, curated Instagram posts, and tightly managed press releases. But Saturday Night Live shattered that illusion in 10 seconds. No control. No edits. Just laughter, and the raw exposure of a brand built more on aspiration than authenticity. This wasn't just about one joke. It was about years of unearned self-comparison, relentless title flashing, and a refusal to accept that public roles come with public scrutiny. As one journalist wrote in Le Monde. Comparing Meghan to Brigitte Macron is like comparing a Pinterest board to a presidency. One inspires policy. The other inspires memes. The punchline becomes permanent. In political circles, the nickname Mini Macron has become shorthand for performative politics, buzzwords without backing, and status without substance. Meghan has become the cautionary tale of what happens when branding overtakes belief. Her Netflix show is stalled. Her podcast is defunct. Her foundation, Archwell, has yet to make a tangible impact. And yet, she continues to demand the spotlight without understanding that relevance, in today's world, isn't something you manufacture. It's something you earn. In the end, Meghan Markle wasn't destroyed by SNL. She was revealed by it. And the public didn't just laugh. They nodded in agreement. Because when even satire starts to feel like documentary, it's time to stop blaming the comedians and start questioning the character.